It's August 4th, 2000, day I'll never forget, going back to school after being a normal person and then going back to having burns.
Brehon Matthews' life changed forever the day a neighborhood bully offered to show him a trick.
A guy in the neighborhood approached me and asked me, did I know how to make a hole in the glass with fire like the robberies do? You make the hole in the glass and knock it out in that way. So I was like, no, I'm 10 years old, he's 13, I'm naive. So he goes, okay, well, let me show you.
It was a game that would prove to be anything but fun.
He had the hairspray to a lighter. He sprayed the hairspray. He did it a couple times, so he seen that it made a huge torch. And the next thing I know, he sprayed it towards me. It was an immediate rush of heat. That's all I know. I didn't notice that it was on me from head to toe. All I noticed is that the heat that's surrounding me. So I just the agony, the pain. When your body's in shock, it doesn't really, get to you that fast. My flesh was burning. My older sister was on the porch and she, see me screaming and hollering, so she went to grab my older brother and sister, who then came out of the house hollering, screaming, drop, stop, drop, stop, and that's what I heard. So then that's when they picked me up, carried me into the house, and seeing that the flesh and skin was burned and seeing that it was coming out, so they called the ambulance.
At the time, Brehon's parents were on their way out of town, but they decided to head back home when they realized they had forgotten a bag.
When I came home, I saw the kids on the porch, everybody except for Brehon.
After learning the dreadful news, they rushed to the hospital.
He was really so critical that they didn't have time to come to us really and tell us what was going on. They had to work on him to get him stabilized. We didn't really find out anything. This was like 5 in the afternoon. We didn't talk to a doctor until like midnight. So we were just in the chapel, which was another scary feeling.
I was confused, scared. I wasn't aware of what was going on, how severely the situation was. There was a lot of swelling.
Swelling, they have to actually take off all the burned, dead skin. So you go from being your complexion to basically just being pink.
The doctors there had done everything they could to help Brehon, so he was airlifted to a hospital for burn victims in another state. Tanya began to feel overwhelmed.
Me being a mother and
Her mental state.
Yeah, my mental state, how I was at the time. I was just like unaware of where I was. You're going into an unfamiliar situation, then my child severely burnt, don't know what's gonna happen, how long he has to be there. So my mental state was just all over the place. At that point, I just went blank. I lost it.
Things got so bad, a hospital social worker called her husband.
They were real concerned with her. So now my focus is going from Brehon to her. She had a nervous breakdown.
Soon after, Tanya called and said she couldn't handle it, and she returned home. Ivory went to be with Brehon.
It wasn't like I was forced or had to do it or anything. I needed to be up there with Brehon.
My stepdad, Ivory, became like a dad that day. When I got burned, my stepdad took off of work and was there with me the entire time. And I had a catheter, a feeding tube, and a trachea. I had to learn to walk again, speak again on my own. I remember I couldn't even make a fist with my left hand, you know what I mean? Because the skin grafts were so tight and I was laying in a hospital for just, months at a time. My body wasn't used to doing anything. So I had to learn to do a lot of stuff again.
Brehon's condition improved. Meanwhile, Tanya was facing an uphill battle of her own.
I attended church and I believed, but I wasn't what he wanted me to be. I didn't fellowship amongst other Christians. I would go sporadically and, I would still go out, hang out and, do things that was not of him.
Finally, the hospital was ready to send Brehon home. But he would need a tube in his throat to help him breathe.
When they told me about the trach, I went in my room and I closed my door and I got on my knees and I just prayed and talked to God. He was supposed to come home with the trach, but Brehon don't have a scar in his throat. So I give God the glory.
The family had one more obstacle to overcome.
If you're gonna ask me if I forgave the child that did it, I had none. Over these years, I've learned to.
I forgave him, and I forgave him because I said, Lord, this is my child laying on his dying bed. How can I come to you and ask you to heal my child, and I haven't forgiven this child?
I battled with forgiveness for a long time because I didn't know, did he purposely do it? Was it just a mistake? And I just gave it to God, and I just say, it doesn't matter. Just forget about it and, and move on.
And he did. Brehon attended college and left the past behind. Then one day he received an unusual request. It was from the person who burned him.
Maybe when I turned 18 or 19 or so, he found me on Facebook and added me on Facebook, and I accepted him. There was another clarification for me as well. When I accepted him on Facebook, that's like accepting him into my life, looking at all the accomplishments that I've done with college and grad school and all these different things. That was another turning point for me, where I knew that I no longer held any, any grudge or anything against when I accepted on Facebook. So that was another clarification for me as well.
Ivory and Tanya say it was God who brought them through the storm.
You know that a man can't do these things. A lot of things happened and just right, a lot. It's no luck.
It's no doctor, no nurse. I know it was God.
Sometimes God will lay you flat on your back.
To get your attention.
To get your attention.
He know how to sit you down to where you don't have nobody else but him. And I've learned that every knee must bow and every tongue must confess that God is awesome, and that with him all things are possible.